Have you ever walked away from something only to keep finding yourself back there? That's me and sewing. And the funny thing is, I never even planned for sewing to become my career. I actually learned it because I wanted to save money. Yes. But somehow it became one of the biggest dreams of my life. So today I want to tell you that story. You know, I've always loved fashion. Even before I learned sewing, I was very particular about clothes. Yeah. If something wasn't aligned, like if a dress wasn't aligned properly, I'd notice it immediately. And if the finishing wasn't neat, I would complain. Like, trust me to complain about that. And because of that, I got tired of paying people to make clothes that didn't always come out the way I wanted or the way I had imagined it to come out. I also couldn't really afford to keep making clothes all the time. Like, I couldn't keep paying people to make clothes for me all the time. So one day I just thought to myself, why don't I learn this thing myself? I mean, if I can learn it, I can make a lot of clothes for myself. And that's honestly how it started. Not because I wanted a fashion business, no, it was nothing like that. And it wasn't even because I wanted clients either. I just wanted clothes that fit me properly. And I mean, new styles were coming out every day. So I just wanted to make something nice for myself. So in 2021, I paid for sewing classes. I was in school then, I think 300 or 400 level. Yeah, I think 400 level then in school. So I couldn't attend consistently. I think I only learned for about a month. So what happened is when I'm on break for the holiday, I'll go to where I am learning, and after the break I go back to school. So I couldn't actually learn for long, just 1 month. And the first thing I actually learned how to make was a pencil skirt. I cannot forget that skirt. I mean, I cut everything myself. I sewed everything together myself, and it fits like a glove. So my trainer looked at me and said, "Gift, you actually learn so fast." I don't know if she remembers saying that, but I never forgot about it. And I wore that skirt everywhere. I wore it to church, I wore it for weddings, I wore it literally everywhere you can think of. Like anywhere I had the opportunity to wear that skirt, trust me to wear that skirt. I only stopped wearing it, I think last year, that was 2025. I stopped wearing it. And after school, I finally bought my first sewing machine, which is staring me in the face right now. And that day, I don't even know how to explain the excitement. I don't know how to explain the feeling. I paid for it with my money. Yes, I paid for it with the money I had saved myself. So I saved up money while I was in school, and after school, that was in 20. I graduated 2022, and in 2023, I got the machine. Initially I'd asked my mom to help pay for my classes when I wanted to learn sewing, but she said no. They felt like it was just another hobby of mine. To be fair, I already had the money. I just wanted to save my own money, so I actually paid for my classes as well. Yeah. And I remember bringing the machine home. My mom and I went to get it. I brought it home, removing all the brown paper. I removed it and I set it up in my room. I was so excited. I'll press the pedal, I'll stand up, I'll lie on the bed, I'll go back again. Like, when you just get something new, yeah, that excitement. Even when I had nothing to sew, I would literally just go and sit on my machine. And sometimes I'll just be doing straight stitches. Like, I was just so excited. And then I remember my dad coming home from work, and I told him, I said, "Daddy, I've got my sewing machine. I bought my sewing machine today." And I could actually see how proud he was. My dad is a very quiet person, but I could see the look on his face. He was so proud of me. And I think that moment meant more to me than I realized at that time. And the funny thing is, I still wasn't planning to sew for people. I just wanted my machine for myself. Okay. So after getting the machine, I kept making clothes for myself. Then my mom, it was even a struggle to make clothes for my mom because she literally did not trust me. But then after a while, she'd say, "Oh, make something for me." And my sister too would say, make a dress for me. And I made them. Little by little, people started noticing. Yeah, people would ask, I have a dress I would like you to make, and they'll pay me. The money wasn't much. I think at that time I was just charging like maybe 3,000 naira because it was just a hobby. It was just something I loved doing. Understand? So the money wasn't much, but after a while, it was accumulating, and then I realized, wait, oh, I can actually make money from this thing. Things were beginning to make sense. Then life happened. I went for NYC in 2024. I came back and I started rebuilding. That was in 2025 after NYC. It was not going as planned. Then I got a remote job. I mean, at the time, I honestly thought maybe this is a smarter part. I wanted the income. I mean, I wanted money. And I wanted to use the money to grow my fashion business. That was the plan. But life didn't go the way I planned it. I ended up putting almost all my attention into the job that I got, that I forgot about sewing. And looking back now, sometimes I wonder where I would be if I had just stayed consistent with sewing. But I try not to dwell on that. Yeah. I mean, regret doesn't move you forward at the end of the day. So coming back to sewing hasn't been easy either. Fashion has changed, things have evolved. There are techniques I now have to refresh my memory on. Sometimes I sit at my machine and after an hour, my whole body is aching. And this is something that before now I would literally sit for hours without thinking about it, and my body wouldn't ache as much as it is now. So now it feels like I'm training my body all over again. Feels like I'm learning it afresh. Like some days it's frustrating, I must tell you. Some days I even wish someone else was sitting at the machine instead of myself. And I was just showing them the design, what to do, like just directing them rather than sitting there. Because if I'm honest, that's actually the dream. I don't dream of sewing every single dress forever. Nah, I dream of building a fashion house. I dream of creating designs. I dream of walking into my studio while other people are bringing those designs to life. You get? So that has always been the vision. Sometimes people ask me, why are you choosing sewing again? I look around and my answer is actually very simple because every time life takes me away from it, I somehow find myself coming back. And maybe that's how you know something is meant for you. Not because it's easy, but because even after the interruptions, you still choose it. It's kind of slow. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's this: don't confuse an interruption with the end of your story. The fact that there was an interruption on a part does not mean that that's the end of that part. I mean, sometimes life pauses things. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to continue. And this is me continuing. This is me rebuilding. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.